Greetings to all Pine Richland students, parents, and staff members. Given the amount of information and importance of our return to school with COVID-19, this brief podcast is designed to present a high-level overview of the critical issues and approach to planning. It is not meant to replace the health and safety plan working document or to address each and every detail. It is designed to provide a concise picture of the most critical decision-making considerations. We first introduced this continuum on June 5th. It represents the reality of potential program options. Since that time, our thinking has become more informed and more refined. However, the general concept remains the same. The key drivers have also remained consistent since early March, with some refinements for even greater clarity. The first is health and safety. The second key driver is an approach or set of approaches that support an effective educational program, academically, socially, and emotionally. The third key driver is to try to provide flexibility for staff and families. As noted in red, every potential approach has advantages and disadvantages. A perfect one-size-fits-all solution does not exist. Representing all key stakeholder groups, the Healthcare Leadership Council has met several times and will continue to meet. It is important to also note that most of the medical and public health experts also have children in our schools. Some have graduates from our district. All are invested in our community. Planning for the return to school is the perfect example of an iterative process. It's like the chicken and the egg. Stakeholders need a plan in order to provide input, but input is needed to refine the plan. Both of those need to be informed by evolving research. Although it may feel frustrating at times, this iterative approach is a best practice for refining plans. We remain committed to this systematic approach. The primary focus of the past 6 weeks was health and safety. We continue to monitor emerging knowledge and recommendations in this area. The Health and Safety Plan working document represents a summary of those precautions. The director of the Allegheny County Health Department and some of her staff have also been in frequent consultation with county superintendents. The current level of detail in the Health and Safety Plan is intended to help parents and staff give a more clear picture of in-person operations. The survey window is now open for parents and staff. In order to plan for both an in-person program and a virtual program, and any other potential combination of those methods, it's important to understand the reality of the situation. This image is built on the average class size of 24 students. The percentages from the preliminary survey results were used to project the number of students you see in red. In the yellow rectangle, we see students and families who want 100% virtual instruction and do not want to send their children back to school at this time. In the green square, we see students who would like to return. It is the blue section that is important to consider. We will have students or staff who may be absent for one reason or the other, such as illness or quarantine. And those quarantine periods could last from 14 to 21 days. We understand that people want total specifics right now. We ask for your patience. We're now working to refine multiple potential models for in-person and/or virtual learning. As noted on the last slide, these models need to account for students who are physically present. The models need to provide flexibility if a staff member was unable to be present for a period of time, but could deliver instruction from home. We know that the specifics of each model, A, B, C, etc., is critical. This is the iterative process that must unfold in a thoughtful, deliberate manner. We're evaluating each model against advantages and disadvantages. We're also conducting that evaluation against each of the 3 key drivers. So, for example, a particular model may have advantages for flexibility, but many disadvantages for the effectiveness of learning. We're also considering the developmental difference between 5-year-olds and 18-year-olds. We are actively engaged in this work. When the current survey window closes, we will have more information to layer against these options. We are also refining a 100% virtual option. Similar to March of 2020, it is possible that an agency or conditions will require schools to provide 100% virtual learning for all students. If this option is required, we are actively working to redesign our structure and approach from what was used from March 16th through May 29th. Even if this model is required to start the year, we must still work hard to prepare for the day that a transition to in-person instruction occurs. In other words, we need to be ready for everything. In the Health and Safety Plan working document, there is also reference to a soft opening concept for the beginning of the year if we're able to implement a combination of virtual and in-person instruction. The purpose of this concept is to slowly re-enter the school environment with only half of those students planning for in-person instruction. So for example, we might do something like students with last names beginning A through K on one day, and then L through Z on the next day. And this would continue for a period of time in an alternating fashion to begin the year. This type of soft or gradual opening would allow everyone to build confidence and reduce anxiety. It would allow smaller numbers of students to help establish routines, safety measures, procedures for transportation, cafeteria, hallways, and more. Additional explanation about the soft opening is located in the Health and Safety Plan. We are working to refine the recommendations over the next 2 weeks. Your participation in the survey serves as a critical part of additional input in our iterative process. We thank you for your patience and support in this challenging and stressful time. Lastly, school districts are just one part of our ecosystem. The precautions being taken right now in the community and over the next 5 weeks will have an impact on conditions in our school district and other school districts in the region. Things such as face coverings, physical distancing, and frequent hand washing continue to serve as the most significant personal commitments each of us can take to support the region and our schools. These recommendations are also supported by our local healthcare leadership council experts, and they become especially important in indoor settings.